Welcome to this week's Eccentric Minute, brought to you by Eccentric. One of my favorite exercises to use with the K-Box is the Box Zurcher Squat. The big thing with the equipment they provide is the bar is padded, so it's a lot more comfortable than you would be with a barbell, but it still is going to be all the upper back, leg, and core work of the normal Zurcher Squat. Couple pro tips that I'd say here: make sure you've got a little bit more room on the strap at the top than you would guess so that you can keep it flowing smooth up and down. And I prefer to start this exercise at the bottom. So sit back, get all the way down into that deep squat position, chest up, abs tight, and start driving up. With the goal to keep your posture high and move fluidly through the range of motion, this is an absolute favorite of mine, and I hope you guys give it a try with your K-Box today. I really hope you enjoyed this week's Eccentric Minute. Make sure you check them out at eccentric.com to find out everything you need about the K-Box and the K-Pulley. Being a strength and conditioning professional requires constant pursuit of better knowledge, better methods, and better means. But what if there was a place where strength and conditioning coaches could learn from some of the most innovative practitioners in the world, such as Jeff Moyer, Lachlan Wilmot, William Wayland, James the Thinker Smith, and Keir Wenham-Flatt? Well, you could find multiple lectures from each of these top-level coaches and a few lectures and examples from yours truly as well, all in the Strength Coach Network. The Strength Coach Network is going to bring you well over 100 different lectures from some of the top practitioners in the world to be your one-stop shop for your continuing education and professional development. So hop on over to strengthcoachnetwork.com/CVASP today and get your 48-hour trial for only $1. That's strengthcoachnetwork.com/CVASPS to get your 48-hour trial for only $1. I look forward to seeing you in the Strength Coach Network. Sean, thank you so much for spending the time with us today, man.
Absolutely, Jay. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man, fired up to get this down. We've had the chance to talk a few times, but before we get going too far into this, man, let's let everybody know who you are, where you're at, and how you got down there.
Yeah, well, Sean Smith, I'm a performance coach here at the University of Louisville, and work with volleyball, track and field, and then I assist with our baseball program as well. I believe I'm going on my 4th or 5th year here at the University of Louisville, and all those have kind of been in different capacities. So I actually started as a volunteer intern, did that for a bit, worked my way into a fellow role, did that for a bit, and then worked my way into a full-time position. So I've sort of run the gamut here and worked with just about every sport we've got on campus, with the exception of football and men's basketball. So, it's been a unique experience being from the Louisville area. So I'm really fortunate that things have sort of worked out the way that they have.
Yeah, with some really good stops along the way too, with that school up north.
Yeah, yeah, the school up north. Yeah, so before I started my internship at University of Louisville, I was actually up at Michigan, which I had to think about a week downtime in between. And so I worked with the Olympic strength and conditioning staff up there under Mike Favor and Bill Sandoval at the time. And, obviously awesome staff up there. And that was a really, unique opportunity for me, because that was the first time that I had, really been in a college setting. So, for me, that was eye-opening for sure. A really, really humbling experience. And, I had some, what I thought was really good experience going into that internship, and it sort of got flipped on its head, as I would imagine many strength and conditioning coaches can attest to, the first time they do their, first kind of major internship like that. And so you realize what you don't know pretty quick. And for me, that was an awesome experience with that staff up there.
Yeah, man. And I think that talking about how an internship and experience there has led to some things, I think that's a pretty simple segue into something that we did want to talk about. And that's just, as we get to the end of this, God, I hope I didn't just jinx it. As we hopefully get to the end of some of this pandemic stuff, people have been talking about education and growth and staff development and all that. And you guys have built something. And Louisville's like over there. We're almost on the same, latitude line. So it's like,
yeah,
to the west of us here when it comes to developing coaches.
Yeah, man. So, what we've been able to sort of do with our mentorship program is what we call it, right? And the reason we do that is because it's sort of once you're in the family, if you will, you stay in the family, and I think it's sort of kind of a lifelong journey with our staff, and we've been really fortunate that we've got individuals who have sort of come up and they've grown. People like Zach Farrell, who's an awesome coach who's still on staff here at the University of Louisville, but he sort of started as an intern, did his GA position, worked his way into a full-time role, and we've had some long-standing coaches who have really seen things change and kind of grow from a very, very small staff of just a couple of coaches to this large staff that we've got now. And we're pretty fortunate that we've really got kind of 7 or kind of 8 full-time staff members within our department. And so, for us to be able to have that and be able to have those resources afforded to us allows us to do a lot of cool things, with our young coaches that are going through our mentorship program or going through our fellowship program. And we get them outside of the weight room. So obviously that's a huge part as what we, to what we do as strength and conditioning coaches, but it's so much more than that. So, we get to do a lot of on-field or on-court, work with our teams. We get to be at practices. We get to travel. We get to go to games, all that sort of stuff. And, not that that's unique to the University of Louisville, but there's a lot of times where we get to bring our interns and show them that experience, right? And because I think that's really critical, that as you're going through an internship program, you don't just get stuck in the weight room learning, hey, we're going to, clean, squat, bench, whatever, you name it, whatever is going on in the weight room. You don't just become a weights coach. We are termed performance coaches for a reason. And, we want to think sort of outside the box, if the box is the weight room. And, we get to provide our young coaches with a ton of experience from speed and energy systems development. And that is practical experience where we're trying to get them to sort of lead those sessions, obviously under supervision, but we're going to put them in positions where they sort of have to, there's forced growth there, right? And then outside of, just the sort of the typical speed and, conditioning and weight room stuff, standard, sort of S&C work, as part of our curriculum, we want to get them outside of our department as well. And so one thing that we do, which, I do think is kind of unique, and, I'm sure this probably happens other places, but I've never been a part of it. And so I think it's been pretty cool. And we've gotten really, really good feedback from, our interns and our mentees over the last few years. And, what that is we try and get them to have meetings with our sports medicine professionals. Our director of mental performance, Dr. Vanessa Shannon, who's, kind of handles our sports psychology and mental health and mental performance. We have them meet with our sports nutrition staff. We have them meet with head coaches, assistant coaches, administrators. And, the reason we do that is because I think very often, young coaches see the weight room and, they can get really good at that. And then I think many S&C coaches can relate, the first time maybe you get a full-time job, you have to start talking to, your sport coach or your athletic trainer and start to figure out, all right, how do we, how can we better integrate and communicate and things like that. And I remember me being in that situation going, oh, crap, like this is not really what I thought it was. I'm going to have to, learn quick. And so if there's a way that we can sort of minimize that learning curve and flatten that out a little bit, then, we want to do that. And so allowing them to get in front of an assistant athletic director or an administrator or a director of sports medicine or nutrition or something like that has been really, really impactful for these young coaches, because again, they sort of get to see the behind the scenes there.
That's interesting to me. And I could see that a few things with that. I can see that being absolutely petrifying.
Oh, it is.
Right.
It is sometimes.
But not even like to the kids. Like if that was me that I was overseeing one of those kids, I'd be scared out of my mind. Be like, this kid's gonna say something stupid and I'm gonna get fired. Like but also like what I think I like the most about that, and hear me out with this because this is probably gonna sound awful, is all of us when we're at about that age, we think we got it.
Oh yeah.
Like let me change the words. We don't think we got it. We know we got it. We got the answers, the program, the ideas, all of it. And to put them in a situation where hopefully they make that mistake and they learn faster that they don't got it without making it too big of a mistake. So you've got to ship them out is
that's right.
priceless.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's been awesome. And, you know, I'll say this, we've been pretty fortunate. We haven't had to ship anybody out yet, and no one's made any major mistakes. And we usually try and, you know, talk to them. Obviously we know who we're going to go meet prior to doing that. And we sort of give them a heads up. Hey, you know, these are, you know, like we're going to talk through some of these questions. We're not going in completely dark, but, you know, I'm not going to give them the questions to ask. You know, I want this to be genuine and I want it to be a real experience. And, you know, it's not just, you know, going in to fail necessarily. We want it to be a genuine conversation and an open discussion between, you know, this young coach and this head sport coach who's maybe been doing it for 20 years or been there for 20 years, or an administrator or sports med, right? And, you know, what we try and frame it for, you know, our intern or our mentee is, you know, for us, one thing that we always try to get them to ask is, you know, what is that other side? What are their viewpoints on strength and conditioning, right? How do they see us supporting them, right? And whether that's, you know, sports medicine where we're, you know, in I would say, you know, I don't want to say on the same level. That would imply that, you know, things are all over the place. But, you know, sports medicine being a part of the sports staff, just like strength and conditioning or sports nutrition or mental performance, you know, obviously that conversation is going to go different. And how we work with that department is going to be different than how we may approach that conversation with you know, a head sport coach or an assistant coach or an administrator for that matter. And so, you know, we try and prepare them as best we can. And that's not the first thing that they do when they get on campus. We usually get a feel for these individuals first before putting them in front of the assistant athletic director. But yeah, man, it's been awesome. And, you know, like I said, we've gotten really good feedback, you know, not only from our interns and our mentees that are going through that, but also from, you know, the other side of the table, right? So, you know, I think it's unique that our sport coaches that have been a part of that, and our administrators that have been a part of that, and, you know, the other members of support staff, they've really enjoyed it too, because, you know, it does provide just a different lens for viewing things, I think. And it sort of does, I think it breaks the barriers down a bit as well, just because, you know, we are coming to the table fully open and wanting to talk. And, you know, again, I think we're pretty fortunate at the University of Louisville where things, you know, they're not always perfect, but they work together pretty well in terms of all of those greater pieces, whether it's sports med or mental performance and, you know, S&C or nutrition.
Now, when you bring these young people to these conversations, do you have kind of like a hierarchy of how you would want them to go to protect them from themselves in a way?
I mean, yes and no. I would say it's not extremely rigid, right? And you know, we don't do a full on like mock interview / conversation prior to going in. But, you know, we sort of double check their questions. We want to make sure that, all right, like if, you know, we've had questions in the past and you're like, all right, we're absolutely not we're going to cut that one. Well, let's think about how we can ask that in a different way. Let's think about, can we go one level deeper there, or can we back up a level maybe if we need to facilitate better discussion, right? And we try and get away from, questions that are going to lead either down a rabbit hole that maybe we can't get out of, or or going to be a situation where it's going to put that, that intern or that mentee not necessarily not in a position to fail, because obviously failure it can be a good thing, because you can learn from it really quick. And I fully believe that, but we don't want them to totally implode in there, because obviously that's not beneficial for anybody. So we do some sort of pre-screening on that talk before we go in there. Absolutely.
No, I think that's big time. I had a conversation with one of the guys today that I get to work with, and there are some questions being asked, but at times his tone is a bit sharp, let's say.
Yeah.
And he, wants to coach and all of these things. And it's just kind of like a consistent reminder of like, bro, there's a difference between, because he gets in like, well, I'm just asking questions. I'm like, bro, you got to remember, there's a difference between asking questions and questioning. Like, that's really important. Like, especially if you want to get into coaching, like asking questions is different than questioning. And right now, kind of going this way. And I think that having the ability to, like, instead of just putting them in the barrel and having them go over Niagara Falls, like, kind of backing them up a little bit and being like, you may want to think about switching the vernacular a little bit is important.
Absolutely. And, these are typically sort of towards the end of our curriculum. So how our curriculum is structured is, we do a lot of practical stuff kind of right at the beginning to sort of give them the tools that they're going to be successful in terms of being on the weight room floor or out in the field, doing or on court doing speed work or what have you, right? So some standard, tools in terms of being a strength and conditioning practitioner. And sort of once we get through that, then we start to blend more in towards the theory side of things and some of the assignments that we provide them. And it's usually towards the end of that. So we've had quite a bit of interaction by the time that we get to outside of our department. And so we've got a pretty good handle on, how these individuals may react in that situation. But again, we always preface it, and we always preface it with the administrator, the coach, or, the other support staff member, whoever they're meeting with that week, and talk to them ahead of time as well and sort of give them an idea on what's coming. But like I said, we've been really fortunate that we've got great coaches, we've got great, support staff members, and we've got amazing administrators. And so, they've been great working with us and providing us, and providing our interns and our mentees that opportunity. So they've done an awesome job with it.
So have you gotten any answers to the questions that you didn't expect? And if so, how did that change anything that you were doing going forward?
Yeah, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't think there's been a situation like that. Where we're like, completely, side turn into a question that we're like, whoa, we didn't talk about that. Like we've done a pretty good job of sort of sticking to the script, and a lot of times, if we're going to meet with an administrator, right, they're on a pretty tight schedule usually, so we sort of got to stick to the script, and that both parties coming to the table know that. So it's an open discussion, but it's not, there's not rambling, and we don't totally get off topic and things like that. So it is pretty structured, and usually, there's Chad Workman, who and myself are our internship coordinators, and so him and I will typically be in the room, sort of helping facilitate if need be. Now we try and kind of sit in the back and sort of lead from the rear if we need to, but and we want those kids, those young coaches to definitely take the reins and lead that conversation. But obviously, if things get up, the train gets off the tracks, we can try and pull it back on. But luckily, we haven't had that happen yet. So don't jinx me, Jake.
Yeah, knocking wood over here for you. But you did mention the support staff and the administration and the coaching staff, and we'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit of volleyball and your relationship and the work you get to do with Danny.
Yeah, man. So, when I started at U of L and 4 or 5 years ago as a volunteer intern, we had a different volleyball staff at the time, and they were really, really successful. But I've worked with the volleyball program, since kind of day one. I think that was actually maybe the first group that I was involved with on campus. It was them or baseball. So both of those sports I've been pretty heavily involved with the entirety of my tenure, if you will, at U of L. And so, having Danny come in and obviously this is nothing against the previous staff. They did an amazing job. But having Danny come in has been great, because obviously I think anytime there's a change, you get sort of an opportunity to make any changes that you want. And, from the perspective of a strength and conditioning coach, I couldn't ask for a better head coach than Danny. And, she supports what we do and that's not just strength and conditioning, that's sports medicine, nutrition, you name it. And so she's been awesome for us. And, again, I could not ask for a better coaching staff than her and Dan Meskey and Todd Chamberlain. They're awesome.
So as we're starting to work our way back, let's talk about that process and what you had cooking with the team and how things are moving.
Yeah, man. Well, obviously, we got a little curveball earlier this year, or a big curveball, depending on how you look at it. And we're coming off a great year. I think last year was, huge for us. Obviously, that's the deepest run that we've made in the NCAA postseason, and absolute heck of a year. We had one of our kind of star kids go down with a major injury last year, and that was pretty devastating at the sort of mid to end of October. With the volleyball season sort of on the home stretch there. So that was a huge blow to us. And, it was a rough little patch there in the middle, but, we turned it around. And I think that's one thing that this coaching staff has done a really good job of. And I think, another person to give a shout out to there is our director of mental performance, Dr. Vanessa Shannon, because she was pretty heavily involved with this as well. But, and what she says is you got to ride the wave. And so, that wave, sometimes they, will crash onto you, and sometimes you can get up and surf. And so I think, we sort of got hit maybe by one wave, and then we got up and started surfing. And so for them, to be able to finish the way that they did and do it as a team, because that kid that we, went down with an injury was an absolute stud. And I'm not going to make there's no bones about it. She was awesome, and she was integral to our team. And she was a leader. She was an older kid, obviously huge impact on court for us. And so losing that, you got to be really adaptable and be adjustable, and you got to do it quick, because the season's winding down. And I think for us to sort of figure it out and hit our stride as we're going into postseason was really, really huge. And I think it speaks to, our coaching staff and support staff, obviously, but I think it speaks mostly on the, the resiliency of that team and those kids.
Yeah. And I think that it all comes back to, when you're looking at things like that, and when there are situations that arise that are those massive curveballs within a season, I think that it starts back with the head coach providing the support for the support staff to be able to put the kids in the best position to be successful and to be able to, again, terrible phrase to use right now, but like you said, like use that second wave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just a terrible term right now. And
I
I'm
know.
sorry
I
for
know.
using it, but like that
Yeah.
second
I use
wave
it
to
personally.
carry it, right? Like to
Yeah.
carry them through.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I think, you know, you and I talked a little bit off camera about, you know, potentially some of the differences between, you know, coaching staffs and, you know, I didn't spend a ton of time with the previous coaching staff, but one thing that I know about the current staff that we have is, you know, we obviously work hard and, you know, we want to train hard and our kids enjoy that. And our coaching staff emphasizes that, but man, I think the biggest thing that we do is we have fun. I mean, that group is an absolute blast, and it doesn't matter where they're at, right? It doesn't matter if we're on the volleyball court, if we're doing, you know, some conditioning, if we're doing something in the weight room. That group is an absolute blast to be around. So I think, you know, when you have a situation like that, man, it makes things so much easier because the kids enjoy what they're doing. And, you know, obviously you probably know this from being a coach, but, you know, when an athlete is having fun, I feel like the results, you know, they don't always follow, but man, it makes that journey a heck of a lot sweeter. That's for sure. And makes things easier usually.
Yeah, especially when you're stuck going outside in the heat or up early in the morning or
Yeah.
until late at night or getting on a plane to come back. Like, yeah, it's that temperature in the locker room and within the group is more important than the temperature outside. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
And, you know, I mean,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and then from a training standpoint, you know, in terms of what we've done now, I think, you know, obviously being resilient from the previous year, and I think learning from that experience on how do we adjust and how can we adjust, and you know, going through that situation has really impacted how we've handled, you know, obviously the current situation with COVID-19, and you know, it's made those kids again, I think they are resilient. And they are adaptable. So from, you know, having a major difference in how we would typically train for most of the year, they've handled it very well.
No, 100%. And I think that really all of us are trying to find a better way to keep the ball moving at this point, to continue to go forward, to keep hopefully get into a season, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're all hoping for that. I think obviously assuming everything's safe to do, then, you know, obviously we'd love to have sports back, provide ourselves a little bit of normalcy, at least, I think.
Yeah, no doubt about it, bro. But listen, man, let's get you out of here on this. Sean, where can people see more? Where can they keep up with you? Where can they follow you on social and all that?
Well, you know, I'll be honest with you. I've got social media, but I'm not a huge poster. You know, I'm not super active on there. I follow some really smart coaches, but you know, I'll send you my thing and you can tag me in the video. But you know, I've got an Instagram, I've got a Twitter, but I don't use them a whole heck of a lot. Obviously, if anybody does want to get in touch with me, you know, I'll make sure that you've got my email and you can post that as well. And you know, the door's always open. So if anybody ever wants to reach out and talk shop or anything like that, then, you know, just fire off an email and I am happy to hop on the phone or a Zoom call. We're super accustomed to doing that now. So we're all Zoom pros. So I feel like, you know, I've got the experience. I can handle that now. So.
Yeah. And don't let them kid you, folks. I'll answer DM on Instagram and Twitter too. So it's
yeah, that's true. I will. So yeah, we'll make sure we've got links up, and then you can DM me or send me an email or whatever, and I will guarantee you that I get back to you.
Yeah. Well, Sean, listen, man, totally appreciate your time, dude. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Jay. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. We'll be in touch real soon, brother. Thanks. Cheers.
Yep.